Hari Om. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudevas sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Bhagavan says that out of these four devotees, Jnani, who is my own self and who is very dear to me, this Jnani surrenders to me and comes to realize me and comes to experience that I alone am there everywhere. Vasudevas sarvamiti. Others fail to surrender completely because we have lots of desires in our mind, and in order to fulfill those desires, one goes to other gods or other powers or other phenomena to fulfill those desires. So as long as those desires are there, we do not pay full attention to surrendering and recognizing God. Though the effort required to propitiate this little God sometimes is more, and to surrender to that Supreme Lord is less, but still very few surrender. Bhagavan says one who goes to these devatas, they attain the devatas or whatever the result the devatas give, but those who surrender to me ultimately attain me. So I am unavailable for those who are filled with this type of impurities in the mind, and one who has lots of likes and dislikes. The mind is restless, and one is overpowered by the delusion of these pairs of opposites. Bhagavan says they are born with this delusion, and I am not available. But what happens to those whose mind becomes pure? How do they realize God? And what God do they realize? That is now said in the remaining verses. We'll chant verse number 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmuktaha bhajante mam dhadavrataha yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam, those people, those devotees, those seekers whose papa have come to an end. Papa means the impurities of the mind which gives sorrow. All that gives rise to sorrow and pain, and that which takes us away from realizing God is papa. And this papa, as we follow this path of spirituality, as we do our sadhana, the mind start becoming more and more free of this papa. In the initial stages, when we do karma yoga and all, the mind becomes more pure. Then through upasana, it becomes still pure. Then through knowledge, it becomes more and more pure. We have seen in the 4th chapter also, Bhagavan says there is no greater purifier than knowledge. Nahit jnanena sadrusham pavitramiha vidyate. So, esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam, those who follow the path of punya, of goodness, of righteousness, and whose mind has become more and more pure. So how do we know that our mind is becoming pure? lot of our desires, unnecessary desires gets dispelled. One feels great sense of peace and happiness within, and one develops a natural attraction towards that supreme reality, towards God. So, as one becomes more and more pure, Bhagavan says that person becomes free of all moha also. Te dvandva moha nirmuktaha, becoming free from all moha arising from dvandva, or related to the pairs of opposites. So, becoming free from this delusion, bhajante mam dhradavrataha, with firm resolve, with firm understanding that God alone is, that everything is expression of that divinity alone. With this firm understanding and firm resolve, they worship me. Worship me, they constantly think of me, they offer all their actions to me, they meditate on me, they try to understand me. So in this way, with various ways, they worship me. Bhajante mam dhradavrataha. So the more and more our mind becomes pure, the more we get attracted towards our own supreme nature, God. And more the mind is restless, our mind is more extrovert. We look at the world. Just as a circle with a center in the center. Center will be in the center only. So a person who is looking at the center and moving towards it, he will ultimately reach that center. But one who is looking away from that center and still moving, how far he will go, we don't know. So looking away is like looking at the world. Looking within is like looking at God. So once we reach that center, we also get the circumference. But when we look away from the center, we get only a point on the circumference. So it is one who has become pure, one who has purified the mind, becomes free of all moha, and that person alone worships God in the true sense, without expecting anything in return, without not with artha bhavana, not as a artharthi, not as a jidnyasu, but as a jnani, with firm resolve. So such a devotee who worships the Lord, what does he experience? What is the experience, or which God does he experience? Bhagavan had told Arjuna that I will give you this knowledge by which you will know me completely and without any doubt. Remember the first verse. Maya sakta manah partha yogam yunjan madashraya asamshayam samagram mam yathatnyasyasi tachrunu. So what is the meaning of knowing God completely and free from all doubts? That is now revealed in the last two verses. So we will chant the next verse. Jara marana mokshaya mamashritya yatanti ye te brahma tadvidu krishnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam jara marana mokshaya mamashritya yatanti ye. She says that jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatanti ye. These seekers who have become pure in their mind, who have become free of all their raga dvesha, likes, dislikes, and who strives, yatanti, they strive, mam ashritya, taking full refuge in me, not accepting or acknowledging any other forces or power. See, many times in the initial stages of spirituality, we not only worship that Supreme Lord, but we also give a lot of importance to other powers. It's like you are meeting the king, and you also worship the king, but also you have in front of the king only, you give special importance to other sevaks of the king. So one worships that Lord, but also gives importance to other objects, other devatas, other forces, or our own willpower and our own purushartha. But here it is said, a seeker depends completely on that supreme reality alone. He drops all other supports. That is said in bhakti literature as ananya bhakti, where you drop all other support and only take God as the support. Anya ashrayanam tyagaha iti ananyata. In Narad Bhakti Sutra also Naradji says. So this devotee just drops all other support and just takes support of that supreme reality alone. Mam ashritya yatanti ye. He puts forth effort to surrender. In fact, surrender is that dropping all our purushartha and all other effort. And finally, the sense of doership is also dropped, and one just merges into that supreme. And why does it follow this path? Jara marana mokshaya, mokshaya, to become free, to gain that state of liberation. Liberation from what? From old age and death, from this punarapi jananam, from rebirth and old age and death. So in order to become free of all this samsara, jara marana mokshaya. See, there are, in the world, we perform action to gain something. Generally, this artha and artharthi avastha we see regarding the world in the worldly sense. Like we perform action to gain something and to avoid sorrow, avoid pain. When people become more religious, they also have the same intention, but they want to go to some other good lokas also. Maybe Svargalok, or maybe some Vaikuntha, or some Golok. But those who follow this path of spirituality, they seek moksha. Moksha, freedom from all samsara, freedom from all bondage, freedom from rebirth, identification with our own self, where we become all. Freedom from, it doesn't mean that one becomes nobody, but one identifies with the totality. It's like the wave drops its identity but becomes the ocean, or becomes that water which is pervading the entire ocean. So jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatanti ye, those who strive taking my support to gain that moksha, they know me. Te tad viduhu. They recognize me as what? It's very interesting. So Bhagavan says they know me, they recognize Brahma. Tad te Brahma tad viduhu. They recognize Krishnam, Adhyatmam. They recognize completely Adhyatma. This technical words he is using here, which will be explained in detail in the next chapter, but briefly I will explain. So he says they understand Brahma, they understand Adhyatma completely, and they understand Karma completely. Now, some more points are mentioned in the next verse, and all this together is what we mean by knowing God completely, samagram. To understand God in all his facets, completely. So what are the various facets of the Lord? So we will chant the next verse also and try to understand this together. Sadhi bhutadhidevam mam sadhi yajnancha ye viduhu prayana kale picham te vidur yukta chetasah Sadhi bhutadidevam mam sadhi yajnancha ye viduhu. Bhagavan says they also understand the adibhut regarding the Pancha Mahabhut, or this world which is made up of the 5 great elements. Then they also know Adhidaiva regarding the great Devata. And Mam Sadhi Yajnam, they also know me along with Adhiyajna. Chaye Viduhu. And they not only know me when they are alive, but prayana kale pichamam, even at the time of departing, means when dropping this body, te viduhu yukta chetasaha, these seekers who are totally tuned to me, they come to know me even after the body is dropped. So there are these various aspects. Bhagavan just gives all these technical words here, and naturally Arjuna asks question that what do you mean by all these terms? That we will take up in detail in the 8th chapter, but now briefly I will explain. So there are these various aspects. One is Brahma, then Adhyatma, then Karma, Adhibhut, Adhidaiva, and Adhiyajna. 6. This sixfold aspect, when we understand, then we can say we understand God completely with all his various facets. When we talk about God or Ishvara, his real nature or the very essence of Ishvara is that Brahma, which the Upanishad mentions as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. The outer form with all his, we call him the creator of this world, Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful and all knowing, that is with respect to the Prakriti. Brahma, plus when he expresses through the Prakriti, we call him as Sarvajna. Otherwise, as pure, that supreme reality is Brahma, nameless, formless, pure existence, pure consciousness, and pure bliss, Brahma. So a person who worships and who meditates and surrenders and gains that enlightenment, he comes to know God as Brahma. 1. That Brahma is not different from Atma. Brahma, which is the very substratum and the very, source of this world, from the totality standpoint, we talk about that reality as Brahma, but that same Brahma is within us as Atma, or that same Brahma is I, the Atma, the witness of my waking dream and deep sleep state, that Atma Tattva. That Atma Tattva is also Brahma only. So when a person knows God, he knows him as Brahma, he also knows him as Atma. Brahma and Atma are not too different. It's like a person knows that the entire cosmos is in space, but even in a tiny little pot, same space is there. Similarly, Brahma, one knows Atma. Then from that Brahma alone, as Ishvara, the entire world came into being. The world got as the projected from that Brahma, and all these various beings who are there, and the various types of actions which are happening at the cosmic level and at the individual level, that is also expression of God only. God alone is acting at the cosmic level, and God alone is acting at the individual level. It's a very strange and a very interesting phenomenon. And we are part of it. So don't be surprised. You are part of that phenomena. So all actions, this mystery of action also is understood when we understand God. Karma, akhilam karma, the entire mystery of action is understood. In Bhagavad, there is a beautiful story. In the form of story, this whole thing is conveyed, that Bhagavan Krishna, along with all his Gopan, all his friends and all, they were playing. And then the Brahmaji alone comes there in the form of a great python and swallows them, all his friends and bachadas and all. Then Bhagavan comes to know about it. Then he himself becomes all of them. And again he continues playing. He himself becomes his friend. So this whole drama which we see of this world is God alone has become all of us. And like in a cinema, one actor takes different roles. And when he takes that particular role, he behaves as that particular character only. But in a drama, that fellow character knows that I am also that. We don't know that I am also that. We get involved in our own character, forgetting other characters and forgetting our ultimate nature. So, realized master understands this entire mystery of karma, karma cha akhilam. Then God alone is adhibhut, all this panchamahabhut and all the modifications of these five elements. All that we experience in this world is made up of, this gross physical world is made up of these five elements only. Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. And all these objects, they keep on changing, they keep on modifying, they get destroyed or they change from one form to another. They are the changing expression of God, Adhibhut. So one who understands God, he looks at this world also as expression of God. Through his Prakriti, he is expressing as this world. Then Adhidaiva. Adhidaiva is that God alone as that Param Purusha, as that cosmic person. As cosmic person. What we understand as Ishvara is indicated here as Adhidaiva. Just as individual is called Jiva, the totality is Ishvara, and Ishvara alone is called Adhidaiva, the cosmic person. Just as I am identified with this body, similarly that cosmic person is identified with the entire cosmos. The entire cosmos is the body of God. So Adhidaiva is also recognized and understood when one realizes God, that he alone is Adhidaiva also. And Adhiyajna is God as the doer in individual bodies, what we call the Jiva. That Atma alone, when it identifies with the body, mind, intellect, assumes a limited personality and is called a Jiva. So that Jiva, who is performing the various types of karmas which are called yajnas here, the one who performs various types of this karma, this Jiva is also an expression of God. So these sixfold expressions of God, all of them are God only. I mean, God is one only, but these are the various facets you can see. So in the Upanishad, God is indicated as Brahma. He is also indicated as Atma. And the Upanishads say Atma and Brahma are same. But what about this world and who created it? Same Brahma created. So his creative power, the action of creation, and also the action which all the beings do, that is also Brahma, I mean that same Brahma or same God. Then he alone is the world, Adibhut. He alone is the cosmic person, the Ishvara, the Param Purusha, and he alone is the Jiva. So when we understand God in all this expression, then we can say we have realized God's samagram. Otherwise, we only recognize one aspect of God. Sometimes we consider him as different from me, I am different, God is different. And all people are different, God is different. World is different, God is different. Actions are different, God is different. Brahma is different, God is different. Atma is different, God is. It's not like that. These are the various. Therefore, in the 10th chapter also, Bhagavan says that Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. I am the Atma residing in every heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddesha Arjuna Tishtati. Bhagavan says Ishvara is residing in everyone's heart. So, this is the samagra drishti of that Brahma. It's like if we say that I know a person, I should be able to know that person in all his expression. Otherwise, I will have to say that I don't know that person. And it happens like that only. Even an ordinary human being has got so many facets that even after staying together for a long time, sometimes the husband or the wife wonders, Ki pata nahi, I have never understood her or him. At times, suddenly you see one particular facet and say, I have never seen you in this avatar. That is also her avatar. You are not seen because you did not give that opportunity. So similarly, God is not just close your eyes and meditate. That is also God. Open your eyes and look at this world. He is also God. You think of that I. That is also God. That Jiva is also God. All karmas are also God. The Pancha Mahabhut and all the modification is also God. That is the samagra drishti of the Lord. This is the most fascinating and most beautiful. This six aspect plus that finally Bhagavan also tells how one can recognize, one can not only realize God when we are also or also seeing, aware of the body and aware of the world, we can realize God. That is called Jivan Mukti. And even when the body falls off, one realizes God. That is called Videha Mukti. So Bhagavan here says that Prayana Kale Pichamam Te Viduhu Yukta Chetasaha, one who is tuned to me, one whose mind is tuned to me,